Which one of the following groups of activities include a practice which does not help to conserve soil? Soil conservation means all those practices that prevent soil from being eroded, also from being polluted. Being eroded is carrying away of the top fertile soil. Therefore, methods like planting vegetative cover, mulching, controlled grazing, contour farming, planting trees, terracing, are methods that one can use to control or to conserve soil. Therefore, when you look at the question, we need to identify the practice that does not conserve soil in any way. So looking at our A, we have mulching, cover cropping, terracing, and planting of trees. All of them are methods of conserving soil from either being eroded or being polluted. We have rigging, strip cropping, tree planting, and contour farming. All of them also are methods that can conserve soil either from being eroded or being polluted. Looking at our C here, we have cover cropping, mulching, bush clearing, and terracing. When we look at bush clearing, this is the removal of vegetation. So it is not a method of conserving soil, because once you remove the soil or you clear the bush, you leave the soil exposed. Therefore, you expose it to the agents of soil erosion and also other soil pollutants. So due to that, you find now the answer to that question, it is C. Why? Because of bush clearing. But then when you look at D, we have tree planting, growing of grass, rigging, and cover cropping. All of them are methods that can be used to conserve soil from being eroded. Therefore, C is only option that does not have all the choices, or the choices given that all conserve soil. In the table below, which waste is not correctly matched with an item that can be made from it? When we have waste, we can use the waste, or we can recycle or reuse the waste to manufacture something else that can be useful to us. Things like the sawdust. Sawdust can be recycled to act as a, or to form charcoal, also to manufacture soft boards. Therefore, sawdust can be used as a fuel and also to manufacture soft board. Coffee husk, it can be used to make charcoal and also can be used as a mulching material. Wood ash can be used as a preservative to preserve grains and also can be used as a whitewash. Therefore, you'll find now the only thing that cannot be used as fertilizers are plastic containers. Plastic containers can be recycled to manufacture other plastic related materials, but they cannot be used to form fertilizers. Therefore, the correct answer there is the plastic containers. They cannot be used to make fertilizers. The slowest way of recycling carbon in sawdust is by, when you look at the sawdust is a waste that you get it from cutting of timber. Mostly food in trees, it is stored in form of carbon. Therefore, this sawdust can be used as one, fuel when you are making charcoal. Two, you can put it in your garden to make manure. The manure that you make, it will contain carbon as a macronutrient. Macronutrients are those nutrients that are required by plant in large amount. Also, you can use the sawdust to make or to manufacture soft boards. Therefore, looking at all those uses of sawdust, the carbon in it, the slowest method among all those listed there, it is putting the sawdust in the chamber, because this one, it will take time for the sawdust to decompose and release nutrients. Therefore, it will take long time. Therefore, recycling that carbon that is found in sawdust, it will take long time, therefore being the slowest way of recycling the carbon. Vegetation cover on land reduces soil erosion by. When you look at vegetation cover, is one of the methods that is used to conserve soil through preventing soil erosion. So methods like using of mulches, contour farming, or flowering, strip cropping are other methods that can be used to control soil erosion. Therefore, when we talk of vegetative cover, this is planting of the cover crops to cover the soil, to protect it from being carried away. Therefore, when you use cover crops, this one reduces the speed of the running water. It reduces the speed of the running water. The slower the speed, the less the soil is carried. Therefore, it slows the movement of the running water, reducing the speed ensuring that very little soil is carried down. Therefore, the correct answer there is slowing the movement of the running water. Which one of the following materials does not pollute the environment? When you look at the word pollute, comes from the word pollution. Pollution is adding anything that is impure to the environment. The term environment also it means our surrounding. Our surrounding can be made up of the living factor and also the non-living component or factor. The only thing that is polluted, it is the non-living component. That will include soil, also it will include water and air. We have all those pollutants that pollute the soil. For example, soil pollutants, they will include polyethylene papers, excessive farm chemicals, used oil, among many others. Also, we have water that can be polluted through excessive use of farm chemicals, flooding, etc. Also, we have air. Air can also be polluted through emitting gases to the atmosphere like carbon monoxide, which is not part of the gases found in the atmosphere. This can arise from burning of polyethylene papers or burning of tires. Also, air can be polluted by air aerosols, which destroy the ozone layer. Therefore, looking at our question, you find now we have pollutants that are given there, like broken pieces of grass. This one, they will pollute the soil. Plastic papers, they will pollute the soil. And also metal cans, when they are left in the soil, they are going to pollute that soil. But then looking at the sawdust, sawdust is not a pollutant when left in the soil, since it becomes manure. So it helps in improving the soil structure. Therefore, the correct answer is the sawdust. Why is it necessary for farmers to leave strips of unflowered land between flowered portions during seedbed preparation? During seedbed preparation, the farmer leaves the strips of unflowered land so that he can control soil erosion. Soil erosion, it is the removal of the top fertile soil. Therefore, these strips of unflowered land, they usually have a vegetative cover, this vegetative cover slows down the speed of the running water. hence reducing the soil erosion or the amount of soil that is carried by that water. Therefore, the main reason why the farmer leaves those strips of unflowered land is to control soil erosion. Which one of the following practices is the most effective way of conserving soil on steep slopes? When you talk about methods of conserving soil erosion, this one depends with the type of soil erosion that is taking place in a given area. We have types of soil erosions like splash erosion. Splash, this one takes place in case of raindrops in the edges of the buildings or under the trees. It can be prevented by planting cover crops. Then from that we have real erosion, which is the removal of soil in small channels. This one can be prevented through strip cropping, also it can be prevented through contour plowing, then we have another type of soil erosion called sheet erosion. Sheet erosion can be controlled by planting trees and planting cover crops. It is good to note that sheet and real erosion takes place in gentle slopes. Then we have another type of soil erosion that takes place in steep slopes. It is called gully erosion. Gully erosion can be controlled through digging of terraces. These terraces can be done up the hill or down the hill in case of cattle drain. Therefore, the most effective method of controlling soil erosion in steep slopes is through terracing. Which one of the following crops is most suitable for use as a cover crops? Cover crops are used to control soil erosions. Soil erosion is the removal of the top fertile soil. Therefore, when you use this cover crops, one, this reduce the speed of the running water. This is reduced either by the plant spreading on the ground and having many roots. These many roots, they hold the soil particles together, therefore improving the soil structure. Therefore, the plants that are used as cover crops, they should be good spreaders and have many roots. When it's spread on the ground, the leaves of that cover crops reduces the intensity of the rainfall. Rain drops. Therefore, they cannot cause splash erosion. The roots, as we have said, they hold the soil particles together, so they are not easily removed. Such a plants, they include sweet potatoes, and other types of grasses. So therefore, the correct answer there is the sweet potatoes. The main reason why Juakali artisan use scrap metals is that when you look at the scrap metals, they are used metal sheet. These scrap metals, once they are left in the soil or in the surface of the earth, they become pollutants. Pollutants are those materials that pollute the environment, or they make the environment impure. They pollute the non-living component of the environment that will include the soil, air, and water. For the scrap metals, they usually pollute soil. So we have soil pollutants that include now the scrap metals. Others like the plastics. We have also the polyethylene papers. Things like used rubber. All those when they are left on the ground or in the soil, they pollute that soil. Therefore, you'll find now the Kenyan government usually encourages the artisans or the Juakali artisan to use the scrap metals so that now they can make the environment clean by recycling that scrap metals. Through recycling the scrap metals, they make the environment clean. Therefore, the main reasons why the Juakali artisan use the scrap metals is to make the environment clean. Construction of terraces is one method of controlling soil erosion. To which one of the following places should water from the terraces be discharged? These terraces, they are used to control soil erosion on steep slopes. These terraces can either be done up the hill or down the hill. Once they are done down the hill, they form what you call the cut-off drain. The cut-off drains, they are meant to collect huge volumes of water down the hill and then channel that water to vegetative area. That vegetative area ensures that as the water flows to the rivers, it does not cause further soil erosion. So that water should be discharged into a vegetated area. How do trees help to conserve soil? Planting trees is one method of controlling soil erosion. When you plant trees, the roots hold soil particles together. Thus preventing easy removal of soil particles. The roots, they hold those soil particles together, improving soil structure. Therefore, it becomes very difficult for the soil to remove the soil particles. Also, the leaves of the tree, they reduce the intensity of the raindrops. Therefore, it does not cause soil erosion. That is the splash type of soil erosion. Also, when the leaves decompose, they add humus to the soil. Humus is very important because it improves the soil structure. Therefore, the trees help to conserve soil when their roots hold the soil particles together, making it very hard for the soil or other agents of soil erosion to remove them. Which one of the following structures of controlling soil erosion should be constructed at the upper end of steep farm to divert surface runoff water to a grassed waterway? When you look at terraces, terraces are the structures that are constructed to control soil erosion in steep slopes. These terraces can either be dug up the hill or down the hill. When it is done down the hill, they are called cut-off drain. They are supposed to drain that huge volume of water to a grass waterway, whereby it will not cause further soil erosion. Therefore, when these cut-off drains they are dug, the soil is usually drawn down the hill, and then now the water collects in that hole. Then from there it is channeled to a grass waterway where it does not cause further soil erosion. Therefore, that trench that diverts the surface runoff water to grassed way, it is called cut-off drain. Which one of the following waste product does not require processing before recycling? Recycling is one way in which now we can use the waste material, and also it's a method of controlling pollution of the environment. Therefore, some of the materials require processing before they are used again. For example, we have the waste papers. The waste papers, before they are used, they require to be processed. They need to be added to some chemicals so that now they can manufacture other substance. For example, the waste papers, they can be used to manufacture the tissue papers. before they can manufacture the tissue papers, then they have chemical has to be added on it so that now they are processed. We have the scrap metals. Scrap metals, they need to be processed before they can be molded to other things to change their shape. Then we have dirty water. Dirty water also need to be treated before it can be used again. But when you look at rice husk, this one they are just put in our gardens and they start decomposing so that now they yield manure. So they do not require any processing before they are used again. Which one of the following materials can be recycled? When you talk about recycling, is using the same material for the same purpose. Recycling is different from reusing. Reusing is using that material for another purpose. Therefore, for reusing, we have things like ash. Ash can be used as a preservative to preserve grains. That is another purpose. You can talk about the cow dung. The cow dung can be used as manure and also can be used as fuel. Also, we have things like the coffee husk. Coffee husk can be used as fuel and also can be used as manure, and finally can be used as mulches. Therefore, you'll find now we have the scrap metals. These scrap metals can be smoldered and modeled to other metal, other things, or that metal can be used to make other properties. That one is called recycling, using the same material to make something that looks almost the same as the original one. Therefore, scrap metals can be recycled. Which one of the following practices help to conserve soil by preventing soil erosion? Therefore, soil conservation, it will involve preventing soil from being 1. polluted, and 2. from being eroded. Soil erosion is the removal of the top fertile soil. This soil can be prevented, or soil erosion can be prevented by several methods that include planting, cover crops. This one, they will reduce the intensity of the raindrops, therefore not causing splash erosion. Also, their roots, they hold the soil particles together, improving the soil structure. Other method involves or include terracing. Also, we have controlled grazing. Proper stroking. Planting of trees. etc. Therefore, the method that will conserve soil by preventing soil erosion, it will be planting cover crops. Which one of the following materials cannot be recycled? When we talk about recycling materials, is using that material to do the same purpose. For example, when we have a glass bottles, these glass bottles can be crushed to make also bottles, other bottles. That is using the same waste material to make a product that looks almost the original one. Therefore, materials like rubber, glass, wax, all of them can be recycled. But then we have others like the sawdust, waste paper, and dirty water. All those, they can be reused. They can be used to do another purpose. For example, the sawdust can be used as fuel or manure, or they can be processed to make soft boards. Waste papers, they are used to make other materials that are different from the original, so they can be used to make tissue paper. Dirty water can be cleaned and be reused to do other functions in the factory. Therefore, the material that cannot be recycled are sawdust. Which one of the following practices is used for controlling pollution in soil, water, and air? When you talk about pollution, it is adding anything that is impure to the environment. The environment refers to our surrounding, which composed of components like the living component that includes plants and animals, and the non-living component that includes soil, water, and air. These non-living components of the environment, that is soil, air, and water, are the ones that are polluted by pollutants. Pollutants are materials or substances that make the environment dirty or impure. They will include things like chemical waste, which might come from the factories. It might include things like flooding, burning of tires, plastics, aerosol spray, excess use of fertilizers, it is good to note that some of these pollutants, they pollute both soil, water, and air. For example, when you talk about the chemical fertilizers, these ones, the usual ones, once they are used in our crops, they are deposited in the soil. In that case, the filler material pollutes the soil because it's not part of the soil. When the rains comes, those chemicals that were in those filler materials, they are dissolved in water and they are carried in our rivers. Therefore, they pollute water. Then, during the time of application, also some of the chemicals that makes that chemical fertilizers, they usually vaporize and raise to the atmosphere in form of gases. Therefore, they pollute the air. So if I now excess use of fertilizers pollute the three, that is soil, water and air. Therefore, the method that we can use, or the practice that we can use to control the pollution of soil, water and air is avoiding those practices that can pollute both of them, and in our case is avoiding excess use of fertilizers. The best way of handling tin cans after using content is by, when you look at the tin cans, once people use the content in them, they tend to throw them away, either to the soil or to the river. Once they are in our rivers or in the soil, they become pollutants. Pollutants are those materials that usually make our environment dirty or impure. Therefore, in the environment, when they are thrown there, they tend to harbor or prevent the growth of roots of the plant if they are buried in the soil, and if they are thrown in our rivers, they usually pollute that water. Other people, they tend to throw them in pit latrines, but throwing them in the pit latrine, it is not economical. Yes, it's one of the methods that you can use to clean the environment, but there are other better ways of reusing or recycling the same product. Those are the tin cans. Also, others, they tend to bury them deep in the soil, but once in the soil there, they prevent the proper growth of the roots, and roots are very important when it comes to the absorption of water and mineral salts. Therefore, some of these pollutants, they can be recycled. Recycling these material means that you can use them again and again by making other products. So therefore, the best way in which now we can recycle these is by taking them back to the factory. We smelt them and moldering them to other products that they can be, or that can be used by human beings. Which one of the following least conserves the soil? Soil conservation measures involves those measures that we take to protect the soil from either being eroded or being polluted. That is, we protect it from the effect of soil erosion and also from the effect of pollution. Therefore, there are different methods that we can use to control both soil erosion and soil pollution that will ensure the soil is conserved. Some of these methods will include mulching. Mulching, this one ensures that the soil does not lose some of its components like water in the soil. Also, manure, as it decomposes, it yields manure that improves the soil structure such a way it cannot be carried away. Planting cover crops ensures that the roots of these cover crops hold the soil particles together. They cannot be easily removed. Also, the leaves of these cover crops, they cover the soil, ensuring that they reduce the intensity of the raindrops such a way that they cannot cause splash erosion. We have other methods like terracing. Terracing reduces the speed of the running water. If the speed of the running water is reduced, it means that little soil is carried, because the higher the speed of water, the more the soil is carried away. Also with the terraces, we have those which are down the hill. They are called cut-off drains. Cut-off drains, they usually divert the surface runoff to a grassway, thus reducing the speed of the water and also diverting the water in a place where it cannot cause further soil erosion. So the method that can least to conserve the soil is contour flowing, whereby we plow along the contours. This one ensures that water follows the contours, but at a certain extent it reduces the speed of the running water down the slope, but it's the least. Which one of the following is the best method of managing plastic waste? These plastic wastes are waste that comes from used plastics. Used plastics, they are pollutants. Pollutants are those materials that make the environment dirty or impure. They add materials that are not part of the environment. Therefore, these plastic waste, they need to be properly managed. Burning them, they will release carbon monoxide to the air, thus causing further pollution. Burying them in the soil, they will prevent proper development of the roots. Therefore, the roots will not be able to do their work, that is absorbing water and mineral salts. These materials or these plastic waste, they can be reused. For example, if you have a container that contains fuel, that is the cooking fat, you can use it either to fetch water using it, that is reusing. But that is not the best way. The best way is to recycle. That is to model it to another substance or another product that can be used. For example, old plastics can be recycled to make basins and other containers. So therefore, the best way which we can manage the plastic waste is by recycling. Which one of the following is an effect of soil pollution? Soil pollution, it means adding impure substances to the soil. Those things that usually pollute the soil, they are called soil pollutants. These soil pollutants, once you add them to the soil, for example, excess farm chemicals, they usually pollute the soil. In the soil, we have the small animals which are very important to the farmer or to the soil. In that case, like the earthworm, we have some kind of bacteria that are very important to the farmer. Once these chemicals, they are deposited in the soil, they usually kill these small animals. It is good to note that once they are killed, one component of the soil is removed. Therefore, you have interfered with the composition of the formation of the soil. Since soil components or soil is a component that is made up of air, water, living organisms, humus, all those. So when you kill the small animals, you have interfered with composition. So these chemicals usually kill these small animals like earthworms, bacteria that helps the farmer. For example, earthworms helps to loosen the soil, and bacteria, they help in absorption of some of the minerals. So the correct answer there is the death of small animals. Which one of the following practices least pollutes the soil? Spraying crops to kill the pest. Once you spray the crops, you use chemicals. These chemicals, they usually pollute the air. So they can cause things like respiratory diseases. Once now those droplets are left in the air, finally they drop to the soil, now polluting the soil. So spraying of crops using chemicals, it will pollute air and soil. Burning of plant waste in the farm. When you are burning these waste, one, they will produce smoke. This smoke consists of carbon monoxide and also carbon dioxide. Two, when you burn the vegetative cover, it exposes soil to the agents of soil erosion, so it is easily removed. So the removal of this soil by the agents of soil erosion due to clearing of vegetative cover by burning pollutes the soil. The other one is burying plastics in the soil. These plastics do not decay. Therefore, when you burn them in the soil, they prevent the proper development of the roots, thus interfering with absorption and of water and mineral salts. So the one that least pollutes the soil is disposing of animal waste in the farm. In fact, this one adds humus. And humus is one of the components of the soil. Therefore, it does not pollute soil in any way. Which of the following practices will conserve soil? Soil conservation means measures that are taken to prevent soil from being polluted and also preventing the soil from being eroded or soil erosion from taking place. These can either be methods like mulching. Mulching is whereby you put dry vegetative materials like dry grass in the case for mulching to conserve soil moisture. Water or moisture is one of the components of the soil. When you look at burning of vegetation, this one removes what you call vegetative cover. Therefore, the soil is exposed to the agents of soil erosion. Therefore, once the soil is eroded, the soil has been polluted. Also, burning of the vegetation kills some of the small animals that are found in the soil, like earthworms, that are very helpful to the farmer as they burrow the soil, making it loose. The other one, like plowing along the slopes. We don't plow along the slopes but across the slope. Along the slope means that you plow downward this way. This one increases the rate of soil erosion. Burning of the plastics material in the soil, this one prevents proper development of the roots. These roots, they are in the plant to absorb water and mineral salts, so they will interfere with the property of the soil, even they are not part of the soil. Therefore, the price that will conserve the soil here, it is using dry grass for mulching, because this one will ensure soil or water in the soil is conserved, and when they decay, they add humus in the soil. Splash erosion can be prevented by, when you talk of splash erosion, is one type of soil erosion. There are other types of soil erosions like real erosion that can be prevented by digging of terraces and also contour farming. We have sheet erosion. Sheet erosion can be prevented through planting of trees and cover cropping or planting of cover crops. Then we have gully erosion. Gully erosion can be controlled through building of gabions, or we call them porous dams. Then we have splash. Splash erosion can be controlled through planting of cover crops and also mulching. All these two, they usually reduce the intensity of the raindrops. Therefore, find out they do not cause soil erosion. Therefore, the correct answer is through mulching. Splash erosion can be controlled through mulching. Excessive use of herbicides and pesticides affect the soil by reducing the. When you look at excessive use of herbicides and pesticides are one way in which now soil is polluted. In other words, they are soil pollutants. We need to talk of pollutants. These are things that usually pollute the soil, water, or air. That is the non-living components of the environment. Once these pesticides and herbicides, they are applied either to control weeds in case of the herbicides, or pest. In case of pesticide, the droplets falls in the soil. In the soil, they usually kill animal or small animals like bacteria. And bacteria are very important because they are the ones that cause decomposition of materials, thus forming humus, which is very vital for the growth of the plants. Also, they kill other small animals like earthworms, which are very important to the farmer. Therefore, this excessive use of herbicides and pesticides will affect the soil by reducing the number of animals in the soil. That will include the bacteria and the earthworms that are very important to the farmer. Which one of the following pairs of material will pollute the soil? Those materials that usually pollute the soil are called soil pollutants. These soil pollutants, they include excessive use of farm chemicals. These farm chemicals include things like pesticides, herbicides, and also artificial fertilizers. Then we have others like plastic materials, things like oil spillage, all these, they usually pollute the soil. So when we look at the materials that are given in our question, we have the sawdust and artificial fertilizer. Artificial fertilizers are among the chemicals, farm chemicals that are used. What about the sawdust? The sawdust, once it is put in the farm, it will decompose and yield humus. Therefore, its presence in the soil is not a pollutant. Then we have others like plastic and artificial fertilizers. The plastics are there, artificial fertilizers are among the farm chemicals. Wood ash in the farm, once you apply it in the soil, it will provide plants with calcium and magnesium, and also it will neutralize acidity in your farm. Iron filings. Iron is one of the elements that is required by plants in small amount. It's a micronutrient. Therefore, its presence in the soil is not harmful. Therefore, it does not pollute the soil. Therefore, the answer, or the two materials that pollute the soil, are plastics and artificial fertilizers. Which one of the following methods will mainly conserve soil and not water? When you look at methods of controlling soil erosion and also controlling pollution, all of them, they are methods that are meant to conserve soil. Therefore, we have some of the methods of soil conservation in the category of soil erosion that will only conserve soil but will not conserve water. When you look at some of the methods that conserves soil, it will include mulching. Mulching, mainly it is put to conserve soil moisture. But in the process of conserving soil moisture, also adds nutrients to the soil after its decomposition. Therefore, you find now it conserves soil and also helps to maintain the soil structure. 2, we have another method like terracing. Terracing, it is done in the slopes so that now it reduces the speed of the running water. So in the process it will conserve soil because the soil will not be eroded, and also water will be conserved. We have the cover crops. Cover crops will act in the same manner as mulching. They will prevent things like splash erosion because of the intensity of the raindrops that tears the ground, throwing soil away, and also they will reduce the rate of evaporation, therefore conserving soil moisture or conserving water in the soil. Then we have gabions. Gabions, they are usually constructed to control gully erosion. These gabions, they usually let this water out they allow water to get out, but they conserve soil. Therefore, the method that will only conserve soil and not water, it is use of gabions to control gully erosion. Which one of the following soil conservation measures conserves soil in the same way as mulching? When you look at mulching, it conserves soil by preventing loss of soil moisture, that it conserves water. We have other methods that can perform the same function or can conserve soil in the same way as mulching. Therefore, one of the methods is planting of cover crops. Cover crops, when they are planted, they usually reduce the intensity of the raindrops. Therefore, if I now the raindrops do not cause what you call splash erosion. Also, these cover crops, they usually reduce the rate by which now the water from the soil evaporate. Therefore, they reduce the rate of evaporation. It is in this manner which now the cover crops acts as a mulches. Therefore, the other method that will act the same way as mulching is planting of cover crops. Which one of the following practices will help to control soil pollution? Soil pollution is adding impure substances to the soil. So those things that usually pollute the soil, they are called pollutant or soil pollutants. These soil pollutants will include use of chemical fertilizers, So whenever you use these chemical fertilizers, they pollute the soil. Other practices will include oil spillage, burning waste, or bush clearing using burning method. That one will kill small animals that are found in the soil. But when you use now these organic fertilizers, organic fertilizers will include things like compost manure, we have another one called green manure, we have farmyard manure. All those three types of organic fertilizers. This one, they add humus in the soil. Also, they improve soil structure. So addition of or using these organic fertilizers helps to control soil pollution, since it helps in improving the soil itself. The following are some ways by which soil is conserved: reducing the speed of surface runoff, trapping soil, reducing evaporation of the soil water, reducing the impact of raindrops. Which two ways are as the result of contour farming? Contour farming is a method of controlling soil erosion. It is usually practiced on gentle slopes. When you talk of contour farming, it's when we have a slope like this. Then we have different areas with different height. So those lines that join those different heights are the ones that we call them contours. Therefore, we plow along the contours the way the contour is going, because in the hill it is not flat, so you'll find out there are raised areas, other lowlands. So that line that joins those areas of different heights are the one that we call contour. So contour farming, you plow along the contour. Therefore, contour plowing will control or conserve soil, one, by reducing the speed of the running water. Two, it will trap soil. Therefore, the soil will not be carried away. Therefore, two ways in which now contour plowing or farming controls or conserves soil erosion is through, one, reducing the speed of the running surface of, and two, that is trapping soil. That is 1 and 2. Therefore, the correct answer is A. Use of cover crops for conservation of soil will work the same way as, when you talk of cover crops will conserve soil, one, by reducing speed of the running water, two, it will reduce rate of evaporation, therefore conserve soil moisture, and 3, it will break the intensity of the raindrop. Those are the 3 ways in which now cover crops conserve soil. Then cover crops works the same way as mulching. Mulching is putting dry vegetative material at the base of the plant, mainly to conserve soil moisture. In other words, it prevents soil from losing its moisture through evaporation. Apart from conserving soil moisture, also it breaks the intensity of the raindrop, and 3, it reduces the speed of the running water. Therefore, cover crops conserves soil moisture the same way as mulching.